Hey, this is Robert. Thank you so much for tuning in to Station Square, everybody. And yeah, we're just in the midst of a crazy week, but regardless, I'm just here that I'm just glad that we're here, and I'm here to just chat with folks and just talk their ears off because that's pretty much what I do for a living, I guess. So today we're talking with Zelda Black. And yeah, and I'm saying Zelda Black because she has black. Yeah,
Hello,
so
everybody.
Yeah, so it's just very fitting. But thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Good. I'm pretty good, thanks. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well, and I guess I kind of have some black on myself. So I guess we're both kind of in the spirit. But regardless, thank you so much for joining me. How's 2020? Sorry, how's 2025?
It's 2025 for sure, you know? Busy, busy, really 2025ing. But yeah, it's been good. I finally got to talk about one thing that I have some really good stuff cooking up coming out this year, but one good thing that I was able to finally talk about was Genshin Impact. So it feels good to have one thing that I can finally talk about. And just yeah, it's been a lot of work, but it's been good. It's been good.
Oh yeah, just talking about a lot of the video games because apparently I'm not 100% sure if it's really over, but it's at least suspended, so it kind of reached some sort of deal from what we can gather as of right now.
Yeah, it's reached suspension, and SAG-AFTRA members have until July 9th to vote on it for ratification. So, yeah. So, if you're a SAG member and you're listening to this, if you haven't already, please vote. And then after July 9th, we will know more.
Yeah, okay. Depending on when this goes up, so
Yeah,
yeah,
whenever this goes up, yeah.
definitely get right on that.
Telepathically know what I'm saying right now and then get on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much how our brains function. So yeah, besides that, like, is there something else that you kind of really been, looking forward to or just the most excited about for this year so far? What would you say are some of your biggest, like, I guess, accomplishments or achievements that you've done so far this year?
Ooh, well, one that I do want to say, at least in the acting front, I can't say right now, but I will say like a pretty big accomplishment for me was Genshin. It's like my first video game role. On top of the fact that I have a new job this year, doing work for Jennifer Hale, who, I mean, everybody knows Jennifer Hale, Mass Effect, Cinderella, all the things, Ash and Overwatch, Jean Grey and X-Men 97, pretty much we have been working on building and expanding her platform, skillshub.life, which is where, everybody can go and learn to do how to do voice acting. You can get private one-on-one coaching by the minute from like voice directors, casting directors, or voice actors, and it's just been I would say that's a pretty big achievement. I always like helping and guiding other people in the industry, so to be able to do that for work is pretty cool.
Yeah, and speaking of Skills Hub, it's something that I kind of touch upon from time to time, where it's just a really great resource if you want to
Yeah.
start voice acting. Great community, just awesome. Check that out.
Yeah, the community there is just they're great. I know I'm biased, but I was on Skills Hub before I was actually working for Jennifer. And yeah, it's a great resource, and it gives you a lot of options if you just want to book people by the minute. Like half the times I don't have enough money nor time for like a half an hour or an hour, which is what the bulk of, people offer. And it's just for all those reasons, yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah, and I just can't recommend it enough. So sign up if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was something that kind of got? Because I know I've kind of am vaguely familiar with your background, but for those out there that are curious, what was something that kind of, sort of started the this kind of acting, music, all the stuff that you've been kind of partaking in. So what is something
Yeah.
that is kind of like your origin story, so to speak, your
Yeah.
villain origin story?
My villain origin story. That's a different one. My acting origin story, I guess, kind of goes back to the pandemic. I had no plans for acting. Oh, is my camera frozen?
Oh, shoot, yeah.
Hold on. There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Do you want me to pick up?
Yeah,
Okay. Pick up.
take two.
My acting origin story, I guess, would be back in 2020 during the pandemic, I was working at Disney World, doing the Disney College program, and I had no plans whatsoever to do acting at all. None of it was ever a part, I did theater in high school and was like, okay, that's great. That's all I'm gonna do. It's all this is gonna get to. But around that time, when I was living in Orlando, I was working at Disney College program. I just had plans like, you know what? I'm just gonna extend and I'm just gonna worm my way into working in the parks and never leave. Um, and then that changed because the pandemic hit and they were like, okay, go home, goodbye. And I was like, oh, okay. Um, and then I was like, I didn't really know what to do because everything was closed. I worked at a restaurant at the time, so I was without a job. Um, and just back home, I felt like my existence had been completely thwarted and I had no idea what I was doing. And then I was just bored and taking online school and college and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go on TikTok, I guess. I don't have anything else to do. And then I started with cosplays, just doing cosplay first, and then I started doing impressions. And then I had done a lot of Avatar impressions, like Azula from Avatar.
Oh
And
my gosh.
yeah, that's mostly what skyrocketed me.
How is it that it's always the Azula ones that end up blowing up?
I,
Literally.
I I wanted to be Katara. I was like, guys, I'm gonna do an Avatar cosplay. I really love Katara, so I want to be Katara. And everybody was like, no, you should do Azula. I'm like, okay, fine, fine, I'll do Azula. And I liked Azula. I was like, I really want to be Katara, but I got the Azula cosplay, started doing the videos, and I met Grey Delisle a few times through just like online fan conventions and stuff like that, like online Comic-Con where she would do like the meet and greet. Um, and she was the one that really was like, no, you should actually kind of do this for a job. And I'm like, well, if Grey Delisle says that, I mean, I will take it to heart. And I had trained online, before I had found Skills Hub, and I don't think Skills Hub had existed around this time or was just starting. There were other classes that I had taken. I was like, you know what? I made a lot of mistakes along the way, a lot of money down the drain because I didn't vet my coaches or I just kind of like trusted SEO and it was like voice acting classes. Click the first link. I'm like, hooray, here's my money. I'm like, oh, never mind. That was not a good idea. But that's it's really Gray is really I owe a lot of it to her because she was the one that was really kind of pushing me, and she was very gracious enough, like when I was just like, "Hey, I'm considering going to LA," like I'm gonna go check it out. She's gracious enough to let me stay with her for like vacation, and it was like, wow. And she had helped me find a spot to live here, and I had a really good discount. I'm like, yeah, a lot. Gray really helped me get my footing in the door, and the rest was just kind of grew from there. I had met other people like Courtney Taylor, Cissy Jones, and Sarah Nicole Robles, Owl House people, and stuff like that. And then it just kind of spread. Um, yeah, it just kind of spread and grew from networking events and just getting my feet on the ground here.
Yeah, that is something you don't hear every day. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I met Grey Delisle at a convention, seeing cosplay and stuff, and then I ended up staying with her for a little bit, and then eventually I was off on my own. So Grey Delisle really helped me in voiceover. But
Yeah.
staying, just actually, being roomies with Grey is like, wow, that's
Oh, do
something
you
you
know how
really do
much I
not.
had to convince my parents that that was real?
What? What?
Guys, I'm going to LA. Now, Great Delisle said that I can stay with her. And they're like, I had to get her on the phone. I was like, here, like, here you go. She's real. I promise this isn't like, guys, I'm smarter than like some random account that's like Great Delisle at 2046, no profile picture, no followers. Come stay with me. Yeah, no, I'm smarter than that, you guys. It's the real account. Like, it's the real Gray, I swear.
Yeah, that is so funny because like I thought they were gonna be like, who is that?
Yeah, I
Ooh,
had mentioned her before, so like they were already familiar because I had
mhm.
said something, like when I had met Gray, I was like, guys, I'm gonna meet Gray online. Like, who is that? I had already pre-explained to them, like, oh, Gray was,
Oh, okay, yeah.
all of these voices, and like, Gray's Azula, and I do Azula content. It's really cool that she noticed me, and then it just went, it escalated from there. But when they were like, is this the real Gray? Like,
Are you
are
sure?
is
Okay,
this
look,
Sam?
look, great, just talk to now. This is
Yeah,
her.
that's what I had to do. She
Yeah,
was
that's
like,
pretty much like, yo, let me see your ID.
yeah, they're not gonna let me leave without, at least a
I
confirmation via phone call.
I need proof. I need vocal evidence.
Especially when she was like helping me find a spot. They're like,
I
okay,
mean,
bring it
yeah,
on.
for sure. I mean, that's really nice of her to do. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Gray. And
Yeah.
also, let's talk soon.
Yes, that'd be great.
Yeah, totally not sponsored, but yeah, definitely check out the show. But I have Zelda on it, so yeah. Actually, I do have a funny story now that you brought it up.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about Avatar, because they recently and it, oh my God, wow, it keeps hitting me that it is 20 years since it first aired on Nick. Yeah, I mean, like, no, when I mentioned
20?
Avatar, I'm just like, wait, why? And then I keep having to remind myself that, oh my God, it's 20 years since the show actually first just premiered on Nickelodeon. Like, I
Wow.
remember when it, like during like I think the peak or the height of the show's popularity, like it was everywhere and it was just advertised all over Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And you just really cannot get away from it because if it wasn't SpongeBob or Fairly Odd Parents or Rugrats or whatever was hot at the time, it was Avatar.
Yep.
And I mean, it's technically kind of still is because it's making like a big comeback recently. I mean,
Oh yeah.
and like, I mean, not because it's the 20th anniversary, but it's more like the show is just still kind of very big and
Oh yeah. Always
it
been
has a large
iconic.
following. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very iconic. And I was at a convention a few weeks ago here in Anaheim, and I'm pretty sure almost all of the original voice actors were at the convention. But it wasn't just Avatar. It was like pretty much anything that you grew up with, like
Yeah.
SpongeBob, Rugrats, Ed and Eddie, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and so many Disney Warner. It's just
Oh
was pretty
yeah.
much a nostalgia trip for all of us nostalgia fans that were from the 90s and 2000s. It pretty much was like a love letter to all of us. So I ended up there were like so many voice actors that kept walking by when I was waiting in line for Tom Kenny and oh okay it froze
Sorry.
again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Sorry.
was just waiting. I'll just keep talking. But I was just waiting in line for like Tom Kenny and like Rob Paulson, and so
Mhm.
many voice actors kept walking by, like Jim Cummings, Gray Delisle, Walter Jones, who is the OG Power Ranger,
Yeah.
and even Masako Nozawa, like the OG, like Goku Seiyu for those that are big Dragon Ball fanatics. So yeah, just wanted to say that funny story. So I was like, I technically met Gray Delisle, but she walked by when I was waiting in line for Tom for SpongeBob. So next time.
Yeah. So yeah, was that NostalgiaCon?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
NostalgiaCon, it was here in Anaheim, like just a few weeks ago. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a fun time,
Ah, it
really great
sounds so
time.
fun. God.
And next time, I'm praying that I'll be able to do the entire weekend because I only went on Saturday a few hours. So when you go to a convention that is like big, like NostalgiaCon, it's like something that you need at least like 2 days, or
Oh yeah.
because even three is like you can't even do everything. So that's why you just gotta plan and space everything out in between and just plan it by ear.
Yeah, I'm so mad because like they had, I think that weekend they had like three conventions at the same time. So I was
They kind of
working one,
did.
and
Yeah.
I was like, it was kind of dead because I think Nostalgia was like the most popular one. I'm like, yeah, of course they have all these, all these cool actors, and they have really cool actors here too at the convention that I was working at. I'm like, but it's all on the same day. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, but it's like they got like even Drake and Josh there, and I'm
They
just
had
like,
Drake and Josh there.
I'm not even joking. No, I'm dead serious. I'm just like,
Dang.
what? Okay. Wow, they really pulling everybody here.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so that was my fun little convention story. So next time, definitely weekend. If I if I'm able to, if life isn't doesn't just stop getting crazy, it's a miracle that I even only went for one day. So that's all. That's what I'm really glad about. Um, and I think what really made it worth it was that I got signatures from, Tom and Rob and so many
Yeah.
folks. So, yeah, enough about me, but like, let's talk more about yourself. So, after you got your start into voiceover, because you mentioned it was Jennifer Hale, Cissy Jones, and Courtney Taylor, so on and so forth. What would you say was something that you really took a lot from, like just really learning a lot about them and just the wisdom that you learned from them and getting to apply it into, voice acting and pretty
Oh
much everything
yeah.
else you do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, um, I would say like s- Courtney Taylor taught me a lot about mocap and like for example like with motion capture, like the do's and don'ts like sometimes they'll typically normally ask for like cowboy shot, which is like hip up sometimes. And like I learned a lot of the terminology from her about, like best practices and how to do a mocap audition. And mocap is like a pain in my opinion. I love coming here and just being able to do this and not have to worry about, okay, I have to think about props or like I have to walk around because like there's so much more to mocap. Um, Sissy really taught me a lot about like, Courtney and Sissy both had got me in like a lot of connections and stuff like that. Just from industry, gatherings. And I worked with Courtney for Nerds Vote, which is, a bunch of voice actors encouraging people to get out and vote. Um, so we would have a lot of gatherings and I would just meet a lot of other voice actors there. And I would say, Gray encouraged me a lot to just kind of go for it. Just so don't be nervous and don't be shy because it's being shy and nervous is what can hold you back and what sometimes people can like hear if you're like if you're nervous and you know it and you're trying to do an audition, like sometimes you can hear it. And I remember I also learned a lot from Sissy about like best practices when you get an agent with your agent. Um and with Jennifer, I would say Jennifer's been really helping me, especially just like being able to be with Skills Hub. Skills Hub, we do like a minute with interviews, which is part of the site, like interviews with coaches. So I get to sit in, like I'm on the back end recording. So anytime you're listening to it a minute with, I'm in the back, just, pressing record and the buttons and stuff. And it's so interesting, just like having to have this opportunity to just listen and to get knowledge from all these people and understanding, even like studio best practices or she and I host Skills Hub on Air, which is on our YouTube, and we interview anybody from the industry, whether they be audio engineer, animator, storyboard artists, also just getting to know behind the scenes too, because I think it's really important to talk to everybody in this industry and to kind of get to know what everybody does. And I think that has been really helpful, just understanding the industry in general. Um, and I think it's really helped with my performance too because there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of valuable stuff on that YouTube where casting directors are really just like we had a casting director on that YouTube literally he's like just be yourself. He's like please be yourself. He's like I don't want you to try and like come up here and be somebody that you're not and that they like it was really helpful hearing it from somebody that does cast. So it's a lot it's there's just so much that I have learned from them, and it's just been so incredibly valuable.
And another thing too, it's like you really get to learn a lot about the people that you never know if you're going to be working alongside them or just if they're going to be your
Mhm.
mentors. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like really cool to just really listen in and just really pick apart their brains just
Yeah.
over and over and over again and just be that obnoxious kind of person that's like I want to know what you do and I and you know what it's funny because the I know a lot of us kind of have like healthy egos, but it's more like, hey, so I want to know more from you so I can you know, steal some of your quirks and stuff and turn it into my own. Nobody will never know.
Yeah.
Take inspiration, but also steal from the best.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing too. Like they're never, nobody's I haven't really run into anybody that's been very gatekeepy with like, oh no, voice acting's mine. I'm not gonna talk to you. I'm not gonna,
It's
like
mine.
so many people are like, Sure, come on in. What do you want to learn? What do you want to find out?"
It's like, oh, It's not like, oh, so you're after my roles, huh? Come at me, bro.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Not a lot of that at all.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but even then, it's like very few in between. But for the most part, it's just like, oh, okay, just come on, let's just get some lunch, coffee.
Yeah.
Let's chat.
Hmm.
And yeah, for you, what would you say was because since you booked Genshin, is it still kind of like kind of crazy that you even managed to book Genshin?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like when my agent told me, I was like, really? Yeah, it was really cool getting to actually do the whole process and on such an iconic game, you know. It I don't, I've had actors that I've really looked up to. I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm in the same game with you." It's like um yeah, it was amazing getting to do it. It wasn't what I thought it would be. I was originally thinking it was much like dubbing, but it's not. And that's what really shocked me. It was like, oh, okay, it isn't dubbing.
Yeah, no, it's a video game where it got really big around, and it's funny that you mentioned the pandemic because I think it
Yeah.
started really blowing up around that time.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I think 2020 was when it came out around then. I think.
Yeah, I think it was 20. I'm not gonna Google it, but I know it was 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, sometime around 2020.
Yeah, and I think another game that kind of really started blowing up was, I mean, it came out before Among Us and Animal Crossing were the two other big ones that
Yeah.
kind of exploded around that time.
Yeah, and I think this is what's interesting is I think they're called like gotcha games and they got like
Yeah,
the whole
yeah,
genre
mhm.
is fairly new. Sort of like that whole kind of within itself
Yeah,
because it is a different acting style. Like I'm not gonna go there and act the same way I would for like a almost like Resident Evil or like some sort of like grounded
exactly.
kind
Yeah,
of game. You have to be a little bit more animated in your performances and stuff.
yeah,
So, but I don't know. I feel like it's also a little bit similar. I don't have any experience with anime, but it's very
yeah.
similar. But I tried to be a little different uh with my performance because my character Diridith on Genshin she has an emotional scene at the end, and fun fact, I had no idea.
That's
I
how it goes.
like I knew it was a little emotional, but I was toggling back and forth because I was watching it when it came out, and the Genshin fans are so quick. It was like a few hours later, I'm like, well, it's on YouTube, can't wait to watch it. Um, and I was like, oh, I did not realize that was the end for my character, like that was the end of her story. And I'm like, oh, okay. No, I didn't know that. But I think they didn't clarify it because I would have loved to have milked it as like way more tragic than I did, but I wasn't supposed to really know or understand. So I understand why I wasn't given that context because I totally would have made it seem like, oh, this is the end, you know. But I thought it's really cool and it's very interesting, and the community's been so nice. I've been like, if you check my Twitter, I've just been sharing all the fan art, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's so great that you mentioned like finding the different, I guess, acting styles of voiceover
Yeah,
because we can discuss something of why, because when you're auditioning for like a game, a Hoyo game like Genshin or Honkai, it's gonna be completely different from when you're going for, say, Last of Us or Resident Evil, or
yeah.
just even something that's a little more animated or cartoony like Spyro, Crash Bandicoot,
Hmm.
Nintendo, Mario, so on and so forth, or Sonic. I mean, it's kind of like there's a lot of different, and and not just talking like video games. Like, what is something that is different from like a Disney Junior show, a Nick Jr.,
Yeah.
Nickelodeon,
Hmm.
Disney, Warner Brothers? So, and also who's casting? Like, who's the director? And because I'm just really happy that this is a really large industry. I mean, it might seem so
Hmm.
small, but it is so vastly. When you're working on a project, it's not going to be the same each and every single time. So that's
Yeah.
something that just makes it so much fun, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And
and
getting
I
to
mean,
work with people and collab with them.
yeah, there's also like it's not an untapped market, but it is less popular. It's like medical narration, e-learning, corporate narration, anything that, I feel like everybody wants to go after, like video games, animation, anime, and 100% I get that. It's fun, it's great. There's also just this whole other market that people haven't really commonly explored. Nobody's ever like commonly talking about, oh my God, medical narration, but medical narration is great experience and it pays very well. And then, there's audiobooks as well. I'm not very familiar with the audiobook rates. Audiobooks is something I will not do. I won't do it. I, I will do it. I get a few requested auditions and I will do that if I'm requested, but you really got to want me because I personally don't have I can only sit for so long. Like I keeping an eye, it's so intricate audiobooks, and I am so in awe of those that can do it, but not me.
Honestly, same. I think it's something that you kind of have to, I guess, grow and just really start getting used to over time. Like, I know
Yeah.
people that are making a living on audiobooks, and I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
like,
And some
kudos to
people love
you.
it, like
Yeah,
all the kudos to you. Like some people love sitting here and just going section through section through section. I cannot do that.
for hours on end. Like, I respect that.
Yeah.
Man, my attention span is like, I could barely do like 30 minutes before my brain is just like, ah, nope, I think I'm probably gonna go into La La Land.
Yeah, yeah, especially with a book because like like a 4-hour session I can do fine if it's like a back and forth or like anything else, but reading a whole book, sometimes you are directed or sometimes you are literally just sitting here by yourself reading this book out loud. And the most painful thing about it is being mindful of pacing. You have to be consistent with your pacing for a whole book. Like I would narrate a children's book and that's it. It's like,
Yeah,
like it's like Polly went to the store, Polly has this, like that's it. That's all
yeah.
I'm doing.
And that's not even getting into the editing.
Yes. Oh my. No. No. So respectfully, no. Please don't ask me for audiobooks.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there's different niches and so much different stuff out there. So I mean, you just gotta find what works for you, what doesn't,
Hmm.
and just experiment. And that's what, and even for the stuff that is out of your comfort zone can
Oh
sometimes be
yeah.
fine,
Oh yeah.
depending on
I
what you're
tried,
working
okay?
on.
Like
Yeah.
before everybody's like, "Oh, you haven't tried it." No, I tried. I've tried a few auditions for audiobooks and it's just
Yeah.
really isn't for me, so at least tried.
And yeah, I did some stuff myself. So, yeah, it's definitely a lot of work, but hey, at the end of the day, if it's not a scam, you can kind of pay a lot. So, yeah, just gotta be
Yeah.
watch out for those scams out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%.
Yeah. But other than that, what is something else that has kind of really helped you alongside your whole acting journey and stuff?
Oh, fan dubbing. A lot of what I did uh before, like I created content creation with the Zula stuff, I also did like Owl House dubs. Um and that literally I thank my lucky stars every day that I did that because it really gave me one, the ear to sometimes match or just keep an eye on. Sometimes with Genshin, it will require you at to look at like a almost like a rough animatic, and you will either have to listen to the Chinese, and it will run, and then you will have to listen, like okay, this was about roughly this many seconds. Okay, you have to follow like if it goes like talk 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 talk, 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 talk. You have to follow that beat and you have to be as close as you can. And I imagine with dubbing too, it's similar. You have to, like when you're in a dubbing when you're dubbing, it's like you have to follow the beats that you see underneath and you have to be so precise. I don't have any dubbing training at all and like it's that was like my help for me. And I never regret that at all because one just going for it, that was like my free practice. I I can't afford like acting classes all the time, but that was my training. That was my training for having an ear, and that was also my training for dubbing. Because even though I wasn't like officially dubbing, I was like, okay, Lilith from the Owl House says this much in this amount of time. I have to say something funny and witty in this amount of time, so like the lip flaps kind of match up. I will never not say that, I'm just so grateful that I did that all the time because it has been a big, big help. Um, and I mean, people ask me, do you need to be a content creator to be a voice actor? No, absolutely not. This was just my path. Like, I know other people that have pursued different paths and have gotten here the same way, just where I am or even further in a shorter amount of time. Like, everybody's path is different. I don't think it's necessary. And as soon as I started getting really serious about voiceover and like by the time I had a demo and a website, I had really, I haven't done any content in years because it's incredibly hard to balance both. And it goes into this whole other rabbit hole of like being an influencer and being a voice actor. Like, personally, I didn't want to get tied to it because there are people that are influencers, with all due respect, that think, like, I have no voiceover training, but I have a big platform, so I'm going to apply for an agent. I have no voiceover training, but I am going to, I'm gonna get this role because I have a million followers. Yeah, obviously. I'm like, no, no. The being an influencer was, for me, opened doors, but the only way I was able to walk through them was because I did training and I took this seriously. So also just time just got too busy for me to create any content. But yeah, it's a whole spiel about that, but it really did help in the long run in terms of opening doors and getting my footing in the ground. But like the fact that I did train, the fact that I did take this seriously, and you need to learn marketing. Marketing has helped tremendously. Uh, just having that background knowledge. I kind of got thwarted into social media management and marketing and all that stuff just because when I had worked at a restaurant, I was like 17. They're like, "You're young. Here's the phone. Do something." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I just kind of had to learn, but you really need to learn how to market yourself. Um, because you can be amazing at this. You could be so fantastic, but if you don't know how to market yourself, then you're left like, how are you going to get in front of people?
Exactly. And I think that's probably a pretty good piece of advice that we can close this out on.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
things. Good luck,
Um,
everybody.
yeah. And would you like to plug in your socials and
Yeah,
upcoming?
sure.
Yeah.
You guys can pretty much find me on Instagram. It's Zelda Con KHANB. I think I'm Zelda Con B on like Twitter or X, whatever. Uh, and then I think I'm Zelda Con Black on TikTok, and that's where I am. So you can find me.
Yeah, right on. Do you have any final thoughts or anything?
Head to skillshub.life. If you want a place, if you want a community, come hang out with us. We'll help you every step of the way. Head to skillshub.life's YouTube channel if you have any questions. If you have any, like we cover so many topics on there. We have so many fun, amazing guests, that we get a lot of wisdom from. So even if you're not, doing voice acting, like, oh, I want to be an animator or I might want to be a storyboard artist, we have them. And like, if you see somebody or if you don't see somebody and you want them on, just comment below. We keep note of everybody that we want on. Um, and yeah, just do it. If you're scared, do it and do it scared because life's too short to not do the thing.
Exactamundo, would you like to do the outro that I usually do, where
Sure.
I have the guests say, "My name is Zelda, you've heard me in this, and this is Station Square with Robert Jackson," I guess.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Okay. What's my line again? Stage is square?
It's Station Square
Station
podcast with
square.
Robert Jackson. Whenever
Station
you
square.
are ready.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Zelda Khan Black. You have heard me in Genshin Impact, Project Parasomnia, and Jazzman, and you are listening to Station Squared with Robert Jackson.
We'll take it.
Yay!
Station Square or Squared
Square. Station
is good.
Square.
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to redo it?
Yeah, you could
Station
redo
Square?
it.
Got
Yeah.
you. Hi, I'm Zelda, and you have heard me in Genshin Impact, Project Parasomnia, and Jazzman, and you are listening to Station Square with Robert Jackson.
Perfect. And on that note, thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you all next time whenever there's a new episode coming out. But until then, stay lovely, stay positive, and congrats to SAG on reaching an agreement.
Yay!
Yeah, whatever happens. So until then, take care, and I'll see y'all next time.
Yeah, bye,
Peace.
buddy.
Bye.